Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are continuing the discussion on ECG. In the last video we discussed about the electrical activities of the heart. In this video we'll discuss about how those electrical activities are converted to cardiac vectors and how those cardiac vectors are translated into waveforms of ECG. So I suggest you to watch the previous video first before coming to this video for better understanding. So let's get started. In this video, we'll first talk about the electrical conduction system of the heart. So it starts from the SA node and then it moves to the interatrial pathway to the atrium, leading to atrial depolarization, and via the internodal pathway it reaches the AV node, and from the AV node it reaches the right and left bundle of His, and from there through the Purkinje fibers it finally leads to ventricular myocardial contraction and depolarization. So the salient features regarding the conduction system is to be noted here. The depolarization starts at the left side of interventricular septum, while the depolarization wave is progressing from the AV node to the bundle of His. First the depolarization occurs at the left side of the interventricular septum, okay, and from there the depolarization from bundle of His, it first moves to the right side. So it starts at the left side but it moves towards the right side, okay. Then finally the depolarization wave moves down the interventricular septum and reaches the apex and then goes up towards the base. Okay, so these are the salient features which you should remember for this concept. Okay, the main fact you should remember is the last part to get depolarized in this conduction pathway is the upper part of AV septum. Also, this is the first part to get repolarized also. I'll talk about this later in the video. Now, the atrial depolarization occurs as a single event, but the ventricle depolarize in 3 steps. Okay, the first happens is interventricular septum. Second, the interventricular myocardium as a whole contracts. Then the basal ventricular myocardium contracts. So interventricular system is a very small part when compared to the entire ventricular myocardium as such. So when we talk about the vectors, then it will become clear. Okay, now we'll talk about the concept of cardiac vectors. The cardiac vectors are of 2 types. First is a depolarization vector, next is a repolarization vector. Depolarization vectors are positively charged because, as we have seen in the previous video, depolarization means there is influx of cations. It can be either calcium or sodium via sodium calcium voltage gated channels. Okay, so there is influx of cations. So the cell is moving towards electropositivity from electronegativity. So cell is already electronegative, it is moving towards electropositivity during depolarization. So because of this reason, the depolarization vectors are given a positive charge. Okay, there are some depolarization vectors that happening throughout the cardiac cycle. The first thing is atrial depolarization vector. From the SA node, the depolarization wave passes to the atrial myocardium. So the combined action potentials of all atrial myocardium, when you combine all of them together, that gives rise to atrial depolarization vector. Okay, and that is having a positive charge and it is moving downwards and to the left side. Okay, so from the SA node the charges are coming and that is depolarizing the atrial myocardium, and all of this atrial myocardium are getting depolarized, and all of that when you combine it is moving towards left side and to the downside. Okay, then after atrial depolarization, then the depolarization wave reaches the AV node, but AV nodal depolarization is very small because that tissue is itself very small and it is not picked up by the ECG. So what happens in the wave, we find no activity in the wave. So we call that AV nodal silence in ECG. From the AV node, it reaches to the ventricular septum. So first the ventricular septum depolarizes, and as we saw earlier, the left side of the ventricle depolarizes first, and from there the wave moves towards right side and up. So ventricular septum depolarization vector is from left moving towards right and up. Okay, moving up and right. So then there is ventricular myocardium depolarization vector, which means the ventricular myocardium as a whole is depolarizing. So what happens in ventricular myocardial depolarization is, first the inner part of the ventricular myocardium depolarizes, then the middle part, then the outer part. So the depolarization wave is moving from inner to outward in a radial fashion. Okay, when you combine all of that depolarization waves as a single vector, it will move from right towards down and left. So that will be the direction of the vector, moving down and left. Okay, this vector will be having a very high magnitude because ventricular myocardium is as such very thick, and it is having a lot of cells. So all these cells and their action potentials combined will lead to a very big and very effective cardiac vector. Okay, then there is basal ventricular depolarization vector. Basal ventricular myocardium is very small as compared to ventricular myocardium in whole. Okay, so the vector generated here will be smaller, very small in comparison to that, and this ventricular depolarization vector, it is projected upwards and to the right side. Okay, so this was about the depolarization vector. Before we move further, we need to know a main concept here. Similar charge or vector moving towards similar electrode, the graph sends it as a positive wave or positive deflection. Different charge or vector moving towards different electrode, the graph shows a negative wave. Okay, so similar charge moving towards similar vector, that will be a positive wave. If a similar charge is moving away from a similar electrode, then it will be a negative wave. But if a different charge, okay, is moving towards a different electrode, then it will be a negative wave again. So that's how the concept works. Okay, so depolarization vectors we saw earlier, they have positive charge due to influx of cations. Repolarization vectors, they have negative charge due to efflux of cations. Okay, now we will understand ECG waves in general with respect to lead 2. Okay, lead 2 is the best lead to understand ECG waves because all the waves are very prominent in lead 2. Okay, lead 2 is a bipolar lead with its positive electrode connected to the left leg and the negative electrode connected to the right arm. Okay, I'll talk about all these leads, unipolar, bipolar, all of them in my next video. For now, we'll just concentrate on lead 2. So that's how it is. So positive electrode on left leg and negative electrode on right arm. Okay, then we connect the ECG machine. What we observe here is, we saw earlier that atrial depolarization vector, it is moving towards down and left. Okay, so here we saw down and left means the vector is moving towards the left leg. That means positive, see, depolarization vector is positive, so positive vector is moving towards the positive electrode, which is the left leg. Okay, so the wave will become positive, and the deflection produced by atrial depolarization vector is P wave. Okay, because atrial myocardium is small and very thin, so the P wave will also be a small wave. Okay, now coming to the next event, AV nodal event was an electrical silence event. So we'll next go to the ventricular septal depolarization vector. Okay, it was moving up and towards the right side. Okay, so the positive vector is moving away from the positive electrode. Positive electrode here was left leg. Okay, so this vector is moving towards the right arm, or it is moving towards the negative electrode. So different electrode and different vector. So what happens is a negative wave is produced in the ECG. So because this ventricular septal depolarization vector is moving up and right, it is away from the positive left leg, it produces a negative wave which is called a Q wave. But this ventricular septal myocardium is a very small tissue in comparison to the ventricular myocardium as such. So the wave produced will be small. Okay. Now next event is ventricular myocardium depolarization vector. This is the main depolarization vector we were talking about. So this was also directed left and down, that is towards the left leg. So positive depolarization vector towards the positive electrode, the wave will be positive. Because this vector is very big, or it is a combination of all the ventricular myocytes as such, it gives rise to a big and a very rapid spike of R wave. Okay, so this gives rise to the R wave. Now finally, in the ventricular depolarization phase, we saw ventricular basal depolarization vector. It was also moving up and right, so it is moving away from the positive left leg. So the wave will produce will be negative wave, and the wave produced is S wave. This is again a small wave because again the ventricular basal depolarization is a very small event compared to the ventricular myocardial event. Okay, so when you make a ECG tracing of lead 2 with positive deflections above that isoelectric line and negative deflection below the isoelectric line, we have these tracings till now. Okay, we have discussed only the depolarization event till now, so we will have these many events. So first we will have a positive P wave. Okay, then we will have no activity of AV node, which is the isoelectric line after the P wave. Then there will be a negative small Q wave. From there will be a positive R wave, which is a very big vector we saw earlier. Now then we'll have a small negative S wave. Okay, then there will be a isoelectric line when all of the ventricle is fully depolarized. So when all of the ventricle is fully depolarized, the reading in the ECG will show no net change in movement of current. So there will be no change in the isoelectric line. So no deflections after S wave. Okay. So till now we discussed about depolarization vectors. Now we'll talk about repolarization vector. So as discussed earlier, repolarization vectors will have a negative charge. Okay, because there is efflux of cations. Cations are moving out of the cell. So the cell is becoming more electronegative. So we are arbitrarily giving the vector a negative charge. Okay. There are two repolarization events occurring in the heart. First is atrial repolarization. The next is ventricular repolarization. Okay. Atrial repolarization, because atrial tissue is a small tissue, it is of a low magnitude, and ventricular repolarization is of a high magnitude event. Okay. So the vectors produced by atrial repolarization will be a small vector, and ventricular repolarization will be a large vector. Okay. All this repolarization, it is moving up and right, and this event is a very gradual event compared to depolarization, because depolarization is happening due to opening of sodium channels. So everything is coming in very fast, but potassium channels compared to sodium channels are very slow. Okay, so what happens when potassium channels open? There is efflux of potassium ions, but the event is happening gradually compared to depolarization. Okay, so why is this vector moving up and right? Okay, why is this vector moving up and right? So we saw depolarization in the ventricular myocardium is happening from inside to outside in a radial fashion. Okay, so I discussed earlier that the last part of the ventricle to depolarize is also the first to repolarize. So in this event, the last to depolarize will be the outer myocardium. So outer myocardium will be the first to repolarize, and from there the repolarization wave will move inwards towards the inner ventricular myocardium. Why is it happening like that? The outer part of myocardium is the first to repolarize, okay, and the repolarization moves inward from there to inward. So the vector which was projecting outward and leftward in the depolarization phase will project the opposite, okay, upward and rightward in the repolarization phase. The reason for the outer part of the myocardium being the first to repolarize is the better blood supply, okay. When the ventricle is undergoing systole, the outer myocardium compresses the inner myocardium so much so that inner myocardium has very less blood supply. So those myocardium will have less supply of ions, okay, but the outer myocardium is comparatively having a better blood supply, so that will undergo repolarization fast, okay. That's how the thing works. So we discussed the depolarization vectors and the repolarization vectors. Now we'll combine all of them in the ECG wave, okay. So again we are taking lead 2, okay, negative charge vector moving up and right, okay. So negative charge moving up and right towards the right arm, okay. From the towards the left leg was the positive electrode, okay. So depolarization vector was moving towards the positive electrode, so it was giving a positive wave, okay. Now repolarization vector, which is a negative vector, is moving again towards a negative electrode. Negative is moving towards negative, that will lead to again a positive deflection, okay. So this is moving towards a negative electrode, so we'll have a positive wave, okay. As I discussed earlier, atrial repolarization is a very small event, so it produces a small vector comparative to ventricular repolarization. And when atrium repolarizes, the ventricle is undergoing depolarization, okay. So like atrium contracts, fills up the ventricle, ventricle is in diastole, atrium is in systole. So when ventricle is in systole, the atrium should dilate, okay. It both cannot be in systole phase. So what happens is, when ventricle is undergoing depolarization, that means ventricle is undergoing contraction, ventricle is in systole, that time atrium is undergoing repolarization. But the ventricular depolarization wave is a very big and very massive vector, so that will mask the activity of atrial repolarization. So these ECG machines are having very less sensitivity as such, because these waves are transmitted from the heart via the body fluids to the body surface, and that is being picked up by the ECG machine. So if you connect the electrode directly to the heart, you may be able to record even the atrial repolarization phase also, but that is not feasible. So we are measuring the waves which is generated from the heart and traveling via the body fluids through the exterior, and that is being picked up by the ECG machine. So ECG machine will pick up only the very massive activity only, okay. So when compared to ventricular depolarization, atrial repolarization is a very small event, so it will get masked, okay. So that is the reason why there is no atrial repolarization wave, okay. Now we'll discuss the tracing that we have till now. In lead 2, with positive deflections above the isoelectric line and negative deflections below the isoelectric line, we have a positive P wave denoting atrial depolarization, and there is a AV nodal silence, okay. Then there is a negative Q wave representing ventricular septal depolarization. Then there is a positive R wave representing massive ventricular myocardial depolarization. Then there is a negative S wave representing ventricular basal depolarization, and then there is a isoelectric line showing all of the ventricle is depolarized at the same time. Now then there is a positive T wave of ventricular repolarization. Because the ventricular repolarization I mentioned earlier, repolarization phase is a very gradual phase, so this wave is also a gradual wave. There is no spike. Okay, so that is about T wave. T wave represents ventricular repolarization. Okay, now we will talk about the ECG paper and how to interpret ECG in general. Okay, I'm not going into details of the advanced ECG. All those will be discussed in the later videos. In this I'll just talk about how to interpret an ECG in general. Okay, so the ECG paper, if you take a ECG paper, there is a bigger square, okay, and there is a smaller square also. Okay, the bigger square, the big square is of 5 millimeter length. Okay, and each big square will have 5 small squares accommodated in the length. Okay, not like in the entire thing it will be one big square will be having 25 small squares, but I'm telling via if you consider the length. Okay, one big square length will be having 5 small square inside that length, only one side of that big square. So one big square is 5 millimeter, that means one small square will be 1 millimeter. Okay, that is simple. Now there is a standardization to ECG. Okay, the ECG paper should move at 25 millimeter per second speed only. Okay, that is a standardization fixed. Okay, so at 1 second 25 millimeter is covered by the ECG paper needle. Now in 1 second 25 millimeter is covered means 25 millimeter is translated to 5 big squares. Okay, so one big square, it will be translated to 1 by 5, that is 0.2 seconds or 200 milliseconds. So when an ECG needle moves through one big square, it is moving through 200 millisecond. Okay, then one big square means 5 small square. So 5 small square is giving to 0.2 seconds. So one small square will lead to 0.04 second. That means 40 milliseconds. So when the ECG needle is moving through a small square, it is moving through 40 millisecond. Okay, that is how it is. So you should remember these two values. One big square is equal to 200 millisecond and one small square is equal to 40 millisecond. Okay, this is very important. We will be defining the duration of each event, like each wave, each interval, each segment of the ECG with respect to this. We can even calculate the heart rate of a patient if you compare the RR interval, and if you count the boxes, we will be able to know the rate of the heart. Like now, before we talk about the duration of the segments, first we'll talk about what are these segments. Okay, so we have a P wave, then after the P wave, like at the end of P wave and the start of Q wave, we have a PR segment. PR segment is the isoelectric line denoting AV nodal silence. Okay, so when you combine P wave and PR segment, we get PR interval. That is, PR interval is from the start of P wave to the start of Q wave. Okay, then we have QRS interval, that is the duration of QRS wave. Then we have ST segment, that is at the end of S wave and the start of T wave, that is the isoelectric line denoting the complete depolarization of ventricle. Okay, QT interval means from the start of Q wave till the end of T wave, and this QT interval is representing the entire ventricular electrical activity. So QRS denotes ventricular depolarization and ST denotes the ventricle is completely depolarized, and T wave represents repolarization. So entire ventricle event is denoted by QT interval. So this QT interval, if you see, it denotes the ventricular systole. So at the start of Q wave, we can find S1, first heart sound. At the end of T wave, we will find S2, second heart sound. Okay. So between S1 and S2, we have ventricular systole. Okay. So that's how it is. Now, to know the duration of each of this thing, we will follow a rule of 2.5. Okay. P wave, the duration is 2.5 small squares. Small square means 0.04 second. So 2.5 into 0.04 is 0.1 second. So P wave duration is 0.1 second. PR segment is another 2.5 small squares. Again 0.1 seconds. So P wave and PR segment is 0.1, 0.1. So when you add P wave and PR segment, we get PR interval. So 0.1 and 0.1 is 0.2. So PR interval is 0.2 second. Then QRS interval is another 2.5 small square. So this will again be 0.1 second. Then we have QT interval. QT interval is QRS interval plus ST segment plus T wave. The entire thing is QT interval. So from the start of Q wave to the end of T wave, that is QT interval. So this QT interval is comprised of 10 small squares. Okay, 10 small square means 10 into 0.04, that is 0.4 second. Okay, so this was about the basics of ECG. I discussed ECG in detail with respect to lead 2. Okay, there are many other leads which we should discuss. I'll be discussing that in the next video. Thank you for watching.